I'm going to show you 3 sketchbook ideas that you can do to help your mental health and manage anxiety. And we're in the Create This book. The first prompt in the Create This book is to create a starburst. We have this little dot here, and we need to draw lines stemming from the dot on this page. This art prompt gave me the idea for this entire video. All 3 sketchbook ideas came from this one prompt. You'll need a pen, a ruler, and we are doing exactly what the prompt says. Draw a dot on a page, and then draw random lines coming from it. The lines are going to be jaggedy, kind of like zigzags. We are going with the flow, how we feel in that moment, and really just pop in the lines in whatever order you feel like. This process was really relaxing and chaotic at the same time. You don't know where you're going to put the lines until you're there in the moment. You do have to be careful because there are so many layers in the middle. You don't want to rip a hole in the page, so try and be gentle with the pen and add the lines however you wish. This way of drawing is a really good way to get control back in your life. If you can feel the anxiety coming over, this is it. And it's messy. Grab some markers or paint, anything you fancy. I'm reaching for yellow, orange, and red. And originally I planned to do this entire piece using just that color theme. And then I had a fun idea. What if we treat it like a rainbow, like a circular rainbow? You don't have to do this. You can use any colors you want, but fill in each section with whatever color you like. Using a theme like this, I do think makes the piece look more cohesive, but you could start on pink, go to purple, into blue. It doesn't have to be the entire rainbow. At this point, we're just on warm tones. And now we're adding in those cooler tones, but treating it like a circle. So the pink is going to be added to both sides, all of those different shades. And yes, some of these markers are a little bit dry, but the process would work for watercolor. It would work for anything. Just make sure that you have a pen that won't reactivate. A waterproof fine liner is perfect for this. It's a super relaxing process and is great for anxiety. Now, I'm going to be completely honest with you. If you're really down and in a depressive spiral, no, I don't think that drawing some lines on a page is going to cure your depression. I personally have depression. I am on antidepressants. It's not something I've talked about on the channel before because I try and keep this place lighthearted. We don't talk about anything too dark or deep, nothing political. There's already so much going on in the world that I wanted to keep this channel a separate place where we don't talk about any of that. But considering this is the topic of the video, it's something I do want to touch on slightly. In my own experience, the best way that art can be used as a form of therapy is if you can recognize when things are getting worse. When my mental health dips, I will zone out, not be fully aware of what's going on, my vision gets a bit blurry, my head becomes dark, and it's noticing what those symptoms are for you and trying to stop it before your head gets to that place. I know that's a really hard thing to try and avoid, but if you recognize the symptoms, that's how you can prevent it. Grabbing a couple of gel pens. This isn't essential, but these are metallic, so we can loosely go over these lines and add a little bit of shine to really bring it to life. But this pink isn't working. I don't know why. This sketchbook idea is a great way to relax if you feel your head dipping to a bad place. Try and reach for your sketchbook, try and doodle in any capacity, and try to distract yourself. That is the best advice I could give from someone that's been struggling for years. Distract yourself. It will get better over time. Create holes. For this prompt in the Create This book, we need to tear or cut out a few holes in this page to make it look fun and interesting. I don't know how you're supposed to do that and not ruin the other page. So that made me think, why don't we grab some separate paper? I'm using this roll of IKEA paper, but you could just use plain printer paper. Trying to flatten it with a ton of books whilst we grab a towel and some water, because for this sketchbook idea, you're gonna need some watercolor. I've got this cute little palette a paintbrush, and the books did nothing to flatten this. Look at that. What are we gonna do with that? I tend to cut my pages a little bit too big so that we can flatten the edges, but that isn't working, so we're gonna need tape. When you use watercolor, if you're flooding the page, it is a million times easier if you can tape down the page. Even if that's just taping it down to a desk like I am and trying not to go over the edges, paper like this is gonna warp and buckle anyway. So try and get it as flat as possible and add color. And the first page is complete. It's light, it's pastel. Next, we need a second page. This is going to be a darker color palette to make the two opposites. Oh, I want to say a quick thank you to my Patreon supporters. You are the reason that I can keep making these videos, so thank you. For any technique where you're filling the page with watercolor and trying to make it blend, I would always recommend that you wet the paper first. The wet on wet technique is the best way to try and give watercolor the best chance to blend. Obviously, if you're using drawing paper, there's only so much you can do, like right now. But this isn't dark enough, so we're going in with an even darker color on top because both pages need to be different. Give that a quick dry because we need round things like this water pot and a pencil. We need to make holes, and the easiest way to do that is to search your house for as many round things as you can possibly find. Washi tape, masking tape, old little jam jars. These are all perfect. The water pot, which is actually a plant pot, old goo pots, which you see me use a lot, and this water pot, which is actually a plant pot and still wet. Grab anything that's round and draw around it. We want loads of different circles in all different sizes. And this is just for the lighter sheet. The lighter sheet is going to go on top of the darker sheet. Obviously, you don't have to do this. You could use any color theme as long as you have two contrasting colors. And you want to try to cut the holes out gently. I've never used a cutting knife to do this before. It's difficult. Usually I'll just go in with scissors and destroy the circles completely. But for this sketchbook idea, we actually want to try to keep the circles because we're going to be using them later. You don't have to be too particular about this. The reason that this sketchbook idea can be relaxing is because you are flooding the page with color, drawing circles and cutting circles. It's simple. You don't need to think. And once you've cut all the holes in one page, you can just place that on top of the other, try and find the gaps that are covered, and sneakily cut some holes out of the other page. These ones are a lot smaller, but we want to make the most of the pretty colored paper. Again, these holes are all going to be layered on top. It doesn't matter so much if they are cut smoothly or not, because a lot of this is going to be layered. It's not going to be super obvious, so I wouldn't worry too much at this stage. Well, I wouldn't worry at all. But then this happened, and I did worry, but it's all okay. It's just the wrong side. We need a glue stick, because we need to stick the lighter page on top of the darker page. And I'm now realizing it kind of looks like a paw print. Did not see that at the time. We've got all of these circles and we need to find somewhere to put them. It really doesn't matter. Layer them on top however you like. If you want to fill in the gaps, go for that. If you want them to be a bit more like a collage like what I'm doing, you can do that too. I think it looks a little bit more like planets this way. Really, we're just going with the flow, having fun, and seeing what we feel like at the moment. What you can do is reach for a pencil like this. This is actually a white pastel pencil. I just have the one. I picked this up in a scroller box a while ago. And if, like me, you didn't cut those edges super cleanly, you can just go over with a pencil, smooth out the edges a little bit. I just did this with my finger, found it worked well. This is a great little tip to hide any imperfections or mistakes that you're not happy with. Some of my cuts were not smooth, so adding a loose frame around each of the circles and then random circles in the background just disguise it. We just need to cut it up to go in the create this book. But before that, there's a prompt that I almost forgot about as always. Let's quickly cut that out and stick this page in. This is why I love art prompt books so much, because I wouldn't have come up with this idea if I didn't get that particular prompt and not want to cut up the book. And I really love this one. Just need to quickly chop off those edges. The final prompt is perfect. Create a finger painting. Use your fingers to paint. Well, that's easy. We just need some water. And I'm reaching for my random prompt pot. This is full of a ton of words. You can also use a random prompt generator. Give it a shake. Let's see what we got. It's computer. That's not gonna work. Let's try again. We want to have fun. And witch's cottage might be a little bit difficult. Finally, it's rhinoceros. Yes, that we can work with. Perfect. A random sheet, and the reference is actually this piece on my wall. This is actually the thank you card that gets sent off with every order from my shop. We're gonna try and make it using just a finger. I've reached for acrylic gouache. Usually it's acrylic paint that's used for this, but because we're working in a book, I don't want the two pages to stick to each other. So if you're working in a sketchbook, that is something to be mindful of. Gouache and acrylic gouache dry matte, so it's less likely to happen. When it comes to finger painting, what you paint is really up to you. I think it's most fun if you don't use a sketch like I'm doing. Grab a nice light color. Start off light and then gradually get darker as you go along. That way, if you accidentally make any mistakes or it's not going exactly as you hoped, you can just add more colors on top. And by layering it, it will be less obvious. You can see the neck here. It's a little bit high. This is a very skinny rhino. So gradually as time goes on, I'm just lowering that neck as we add the extra colors. I have never tried finger painting before as an adult, and I can tell you this was a lot of fun. We've got the base sketch down. It's not super messy. I'm only using the one finger. It's very controlled, and it's not at all what you expect. So different from when you were a child. We need a darker color, and in this set we have a few options. We could go for a dark pink, dark purple, or blue. I'm thinking maybe the blue would work for this. When it comes to finger painting, having a color theme is going to help the piece look good. You can also see that there's a lot of texture coming across from the fingerprint, so that's why the rhinoceros was actually a perfect idea for this, and it's something to consider. If your piece is going to have texture, you probably want to create something that isn't super smooth, like grass, flowers, fields, furry animals, scaly animals. Any of these would work. I think we need a pink, a dark pink like this carmine. Really, we are just making this up on the spot. We used all of those light colors and it needed more definition. Once the sketch is in place, that's when you can grab the darker colors and try to add some line work. That's going to add contrast to the piece and make it look good. I hope seeing this, you might consider trying it yourself. It's fun and it's an easy way to distract yourself. So if you're feeling a lot of stress or anxiety and you just want to zone out from everything, this is perfect. It's a piece of art, but it's also keeping you busy with your hands or finger that's now messy. And just like that, we've created all three pieces. The finger painting, which I highly recommend. Feel free to use a random prompt generator to figure out what you're gonna draw and pick the one you like most. Don't force it, have fun. For Creator Starburst, we created random areas of color, a super relaxing sketchbook idea. You could really put your own spin on it, do it in any sketchbook. And finally, we created lots of holes layered on each other, creating in a very simple, therapeutic way. I hope you might try any of these sketchbook ideas yourself. Please like if you enjoyed it, subscribe, and I'll see you back here in a few days. Bye-bye.